Hey, I'm gonna do a video right quick. I'll put the link to this inside. This coincides with something I said a couple of years ago when the Ukraine and the Russo-Ukraine deal started. But hold what you got right fast. Hold what you got. Okay. It's in mixed company. I don't like to talk politics and whatnot around certain members of my clan because, forget it. Look, myself and a couple other people put up comments and posts and shorts and everything here recently about what's going on in Ukraine, about a couple of people from Zelensky's cabinet fleeing with money, boatloads of money, millions and millions of dollars to Israel, and another one about ready to bounce. And it's like, well, he didn't quit, but they can't find it. Anyway, that's easily found. Years ago, I done a video on Estonia and them getting their forces up and trying to, and this and this and this and this. The only reason this shit has drug on is and shout out to T West, Afro Synergy News. T West, I met him through O'Shea back in the day, back in the early days. But anyway, gotta get my little walk in, so I figure I kill two birds with one stone. And it's, what is it, 52, but it's supposed to get colder. Anyway, but when you're moving, you're generating heat, plus you're burning calories, and my fat ass need to burn all the calories I can. Excuse the wind. The only reason, in my mind, that Russia's playing the long game instead of just bombing the Ukraine like something kind of crazy, and knock the Azov brigade out and all that other good stuff, it's because it's their land, it's their country, in their mind, and historically. But we've covered that already. But they don't want to be like, well, man, I want to bomb and blow the place all to smithereens, because then I got to put that shit back together. So let's just play the game of attrition. Yeah, and plus, you can't ignore the elephant in the room, the United States pumping billions of dollars into there. Now, all of it ain't going to the battlefront. We know that. But some of it is. And a lot of equipment is. Like my fucking beloved M777 howitzer, even though I prefer the 198. But I understand. It's lighter. You don't burn as much fuel transporting it, and it fires the same round, the same projectile, and uses the same powder charges, and uses the same primers. I get it. From a logistics standpoint, I get it. I don't like it, but I get it. If I had Sergeant Taylor, you got a choice. A battery of 198s or battery of 777s. I'm taking the 198s. Sorry, not sorry. Anyway, attrition. Look, we ain't got to travel far. United States got to travel to send stuff. They burning money and equipment. The EU, not as much, because they're a lot closer, but they got to burn it nonetheless. But their pockets ain't as deep as the United States. Germany trying to kick it up a notch. I don't know what the hell going on in their minds, but it is what it is. So that's the way I see it. So they're closer, Latvia, Estonia, Lithuania, They're right next door. So is Norway and Sweden. You know them some bitches is sweating. Oh, but you don't remember the white wolf, the ice. Yeah. I know all about the sniper that was knocking out Soviets like nobody's business. I know all about that. It's cool. Look. They got their finger on the pulse. They're watching what's going on here with Zelensky. If Zelensky capitulates and bails, and look at all the life and treasure and blood that was spilled over some bull crap. And look, I've laid it out. Many of other people have laid it out. And the emails, now I don't mind people sending me emails, but you sending me emails and you asking about stuff that myself and a lot of other people have already covered. So don't get mad. I ain't trying to be a dick when I respond to them emails with just a link. Dude, look at it. Made this 3 fucking years ago. Well, I wasn't here 3. Yes, you were. I certain names. I know the names. But you ain't got it. I ain't doing it to be a ass. I'm just figuring instead of me typing 2 pages, I may as well just copy and paste the link that answers all the questions of the stuff that you're asking me. That's all. I ain't trying to be, a Weisenheimer. So, this should have been over a long time ago. Well, I say, but Joe Potatoes wasn't having it. And, of course, they don't want to get into a fight with us. Hell, if I was them, I wouldn't want to get into a fight with us. We don't want to get into a fight with them. Take this from a triple tripper. Look, man, just because I done been and I done done this and been this place and done that, don't mean number one, I'm too old now. I'm way too old. But don't mean we want to do that shit again. And the ones that talk the most shit about what can do and this, that, and others, the ones that ain't never picked up a rifle and stood a post in their fucking lives. But then I'm not going to get into that either. And that goes from these fucking politicians too. Now, some politicians did come from the military. Some of them did. Quite, more than people would know. But, so you think they would know better, but most of them, they wind up turning on us. Even though they know we are the last line of defense. If shit went crazy, who would you think would protect you? The Senate, both parties, choose them. The Senate or the freaking army. The House of Representatives, both parties, pick them. Or the Marine Corps. They're and their Uber drivers, the Navy. I know I'm gonna catch shit for that, but and their Uber drivers, the freaking Navy. Like my brother, who's a Marine. I'm Army, he's a Marine. Always say, man, why is my cab? Well, wasn't no such thing as Uber then. Why is my cab driver yelling at me? Oh, I can still hear him ringing in my ears. I need to call him tomorrow. I ain't talked to him in about 3 weeks. Yeah, but man, you don't want to tear up your own house. It's different when we were bombing Nagasaki and bombing Japan and bombing Dresden and Germany and bombing, Würzburg and bombing. It's different because it ain't ours. We wasn't trying to, take it. It didn't belong to us before, during, or after. But Russia, that's different. Like, man, this shit. Russia, Germany, Czech Republic. Look, man, the Eastern Bloc. Look, the Eastern Bloc countries. And I tell people, do yourself a favor, just look at the map. Just look at the map. The map, if you know how to read and reason, it tells you everything. All you got to do is look at it. And you'll figure it out. But I wouldn't want to tear up all my infrastructure and stuff anyway, because then I got to fix all the shit back. And I'm tapped out on money now. But I need my submarine ports and I need my 2 freaking naval ports back. Fuck that. I got too much money in that shit. Blood and treasure in that shit. I'd be damned if I let that shit go. That's just me talking. This hardball game got to end somehow. And even though I ain't in the game anymore, I'll be glad when this crap is over with. Get this shit over with. I understand both sides, but as somebody that's been in the game, you also gotta take a look at things. I ain't say you gotta capitulate. I ain't say you gotta, you gotta make concessions. I'm not saying none of that. It's called understanding. You gotta, if you jump on somebody and you whooping them, you can't say, damn, I wonder why he fight me back and ain't letting me just whoop his ass. Because that's the same thing. I understand why he doing what he doing. Plus, and I'll end on this, we, as the United States and a couple of NATO, well, I ain't gonna say a couple, NATO, fuck it. We broke the deal. Because when they sent my punk ass was on that wall between East and West Germany, and we ran from Camp Hof, Checkpoint Bravo, all the way down to the Czechoslovakian border, that was 7th Corps, that was us. 2nd Armored Cavalry, that was our area of responsibility, our AO, area of operation. If you hear somebody say, why you in my AO, that's what they saying, area of operation. The deal was that we would not allow anybody try to pull anybody into NATO that's further east than the border was at the time of signing. You have to remember, Ukraine, whether you know it or not, because some of y'all probably young, and ain't nothing wrong with that. Shit, I wish I was young, but I'm not. But I had my time, so I guess I'm good. Ukraine was part of the Eastern Bloc then, the USSR as we called it. So was Georgia, Yugoslavia, yeah, but no. Well, yes, more yes than no. Czechoslovakia, yeah. Poland, they was just getting beat to death by both sides because Germany was poking them in one hole and Russia was poking them in the other. It's a sex position called the Eiffel Tower. And Poland was in the middle. And Germany was on one side and Russia was on the other side. And I'll leave it at that. And I didn't know about I'm like, Eiffel Tower, what the hell? And Bow Wow Wow even made a song called Eiffel Tower. And if you read the lyrics of the song, you're like, hey, wait a minute. I get it. I get it now. I didn't then, but I do now. But anyway, Poland, different story. I understand why they mad. I do. If I was them, I'd fight to the death. Because they got a history to show them what capitulation gets them. Nothing. It gets them put as the platform of the Eiffel Tower. That's as clean as I can say it, folks. But this thing needs to end. I want it to end. I've been wanting this shit to end. When things can go back, like I said, in Georgia already, look, they done pretty much said it without saying it. Ukraine fall, they going back because they can't make it alone. We'll die. We'll starve. We'll starve because Ukraine is the breadbasket of Eastern Europe. They grow more grain. I done videos on that, of the crop output of Ukraine alone. It's insane how much they put out. They're feeding, half of Eastern Europe easy. And Kazakhstan, they do a lot too. But Kazakhstan, they know they along for the ride. The Uzbeks, they know they along for the ride. Y'all notice them countries ain't said nothing? If I was leader of them countries, I wouldn't say nothing either. Because, yeah, it was fun while it lasted, but we're along for the ride. Come on, man. Come on, man. Kyrgyzstan, Kazakhstan, Uzbekistan. Come on, man. You're along for the ride, baby. The former Czech Republic and the former Slavs. And you know, slave, that's where we slaved, that came from, because it was so many Slavic people enslaved, they just called them Slavs. But then when we say it in English over here, it's slaves. But it's they was getting it bad too. They didn't have to go across an ocean to get enslaved. Theirs was a land bridge. So they just got enslaved on the continent that they were already on. Different story for a different day. I'll put the link of this thing in. They see the smoke on the water, but they ain't seen the fire in the sky. Richie Blackmore and Rainbow. For you young kids, y'all don't know who that is. And old man winter, General Winter, is rolling in again. Because each winter, they just get a little further and a little further and a little further. And the media says Russia, and they just talk all that stuff. And they just keep creeping. Keep creeping. Why would 3 members of your inner circle defect with millions of dollars and 2 of them end up in Israel? I'll let y'all figure that one out. Y'all be good and be safe. Hope you enjoyed your 4-day weekend. Let's get back to work. We got shit to do. Bye.